In the 90s, there were a number of classic games that became legends in time. One of those was Zelda Ocarina of Time. This was the first ever 3D Zelda game, which was a groundbreaking achievement that gamers absolutely loved. However, as you could expect, this game was quite different early on in development because a ton of things were added or even removed. So today we will take a look at some older screenshots from development and compare them with the original where possible. So let's begin. Now at screenshot number 1 we can see something really interesting. It's just Link standing there together with his fairy, his health, his magic, and one very strange item. Because he has the Force Medallion equipped, back then known as the Wind Medallion. It was known as that because they also wanted to make a wind temple, which never ended up happening. Now, the reason why he has it equipped is because back in the day, they were used to warp around the place instead of using the ocarina and the songs. But in the end, that was completely scrapped, and they went with the ocarina. It's still interesting to see though that the medallions had a completely different use earlier on in development. Nintendo even explained more about these medallions, because in an interview from 1997 with FemiMaga64, Shigeru Miyamoto explained that the medallions known as magic medallions were supposed to have been used in conjunction with Link's bow and arrow. There were supposed to be 6 types of magic medallions, including fire, wind, darkness and light, meaning that they might have been used instead of the fire, ice and light arrows that are seen in the final version of the game. It's clear that Nintendo was messing around with all of this, and that they ended up ditching it all in favor of the ocarina, which was an extremely good decision in my opinion. Now on to our next screenshot. Here we can see Link standing in quite a weird area, probably somewhere early in development. The area is quite empty and the only thing we can see is some grass and some trees. It's a bit of a weird shot that certainly captured my attention. It seems to be an early version of the forest that was quite different from the one we saw in the final version. And our next screenshot is even weirder because here we see Link standing with a bunch of cuckoos, and by the looks of it, he can have a total of 4 items equipped now. The layout of the items looks quite different from the final cut, so I'm not sure what they were really doing here. But one thing we can be certain about is that the cuckoos didn't change that much. And by the looks of it, the icons for a lot of items were different as well. All of them look a bit odd. The bomb, the sword, the giant's knife, and even the bow. It could even be that these are some placeholders. We can't be sure about it, but they certainly look weird. Now on to our next screenshot. Here we see something really weird. An adult Link standing in front of an alive Deku tree by the looks of it. Now in the final game, he is supposed to be dead because Ganondorf cursed him and you tried to help him out, but weren't fast enough in killing Goma. However here, he seems alive and Link is an adult even. There's even a screenshot of Link fighting Goma as an adult. So, would this be an adult dungeon at first? Who knows? But it does look like it. Because nowhere in the final game do we see Link fighting Goma, or even the Deku Tree being alive as an adult. Now, this isn't the only thing we found that looks very, very different. Because there's also a screenshot of a certain Golden Knight that was probably an early version of the Iron Knuckle. Just comparing the two, you can already see that they have a similar vibe. Although the one in this screenshot looks absolutely hideous. The actual design seen in the final game looks so much better than this. So actually, I'm quite glad they got rid of it. But there's more. Because there are also 2 pictures of a weird looking Metal Knight, who looks very similar to Mario from Super Mario 64 in his metal form. It's the exact same effect. Yet again, a bit of a weird enemy that doesn't really make sense. Maybe they made this for testing? Besides that, Link also looks really weird. This was probably his child form, which looks absolutely hideous compared to the one seen in the final game. But there are more beta enemies, because there's also this early version of a Stelphos, who looks a lot bigger and way more humanoid. Yet again, I do not like the look of this. The skeleton is way too big and a bit weird in my opinion. Now to finish this video off, we will look at one more weird screenshot. This time it's the inside of the Temple of Time that looked very, very different. Because now in the middle of the temple, there's a weird light medallion logo on the floor. However, I have no idea what the use of it is. Maybe a teleportation pad? Or you could travel to the sacred realm and talk to the sages? Or maybe it was there just for decoration. Overall, the temple looked different in a lot of ways. Even the Triforce above the door leading to the Master Sword was upside down in an earlier version of the game. Why? Who knows? It looks a lot like the Triforce from Lowrule in this picture, but I bet they weren't thinking that far ahead. So as you can see, Zelda Ocarina of Time was a bit different back in the day. However, this isn't the only game we covered, so click in the upper right corner to find a playlist where we covered tons of more games like Super Mario Galaxy and Majora's Mask. But for now, we will have to live with these weird images, and just remember that the game looks way better in the end. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to click the annotations on the screen right now and in the upper right corner. Also subscribe and click the bell button, and leave a lovely like and a comment. We would appreciate it.